What's good, people? I'm your host, D Ward. One man, one mic, one voice. Welcome to another episode of Urban Heroes. Now we got a special treat for you all. The man who brings you the news every day from 6 to 8 a.m. WCIU's The Jam, Mr. Brandon Pope. How you doing, sir?
I'm great. How about you? How you feeling?
I'm great. I'm great.
Thanks for having me on. I'm humbled to be called an urban hero.
Yes, you are.
That feels kind of cool.
Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate you. Look, it's a beautiful day, as you can tell. You could be anywhere in the world right now, anywhere.
You're in my hood right now. This is the beautiful Gold Coast neighborhood, and you got all the flowers, the trees, the dogs barking. People got their pets out. It's a great place to be right now. The heart of the city.
The heart, beautiful, beautiful. Let's start here. Why journalism? As you know, it's a very competitive industry. It requires one's dedication, time, and effort. Like, when in your life did you say, man, I want to take journalism seriously and make it a career move?
I think for me, what did it for me is I always knew I wanted to kind of like be on TV, right? It used to be thinking I wanted to do sports, play-by-play and stuff like that. Then I realized that there's a really cool thing you can do where you can actually talk to people, tell their stories, and actually make an impact and help them out and help other people out in the process. And so I took up journalism because it has impact, and it's a noble calling. There's a legacy behind it of so many people, especially black people, that have, put the truth and getting facts and information out there to people when it needs to be put out there, and it saved lives. Ida B. Wells is a great example of that. And so I look at their legacy, and it's a noble calling, and I think it's one that I'm humbled to take on, honored to take on, and I want to do justice. We need more of us doing it. That's what it comes down to.
Right. I was just about to say, in our community, young African American men, they want to be football players and basketball players. When you say journalists, they look at you like you're crazy. You know what I'm saying?
I wouldn't be here without seeing other black men in the industry as well, who can mentor me, shepherd me. Lots of great people out there, Julian Grace at Wish TV in Indianapolis, Rod Carter over in Tampa, plenty of brothers out there, Jason Frazier in Savannah, Georgia, doing big things who have helped me out and helped shape me and help me kind of know the way to go.
So what's unique about yourself that makes you different from the rest? That allows you to stand alone and have a great career in this industry.
I think the key thing is versatility. I've always sold myself as a guy that can talk about sports, news, entertainment. I can do fun stuff. I can do food segments, but I can also do serious, hard news. I can do crime stories. I can, talk about community issues. I can talk finance. I can talk economics, politics. I love talking politics. I mean, I can wear many hats, and I can do all those hats really well. I think that is what helps people set themselves apart in the industry is if you can do multiple things. And you're not just you don't want to be a one-trick pony. You want to be able to have more than one trick in the back of your pants and just pull out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, your work has allowed you to travel, around the country to cover different events, presidential elections, sporting events, and I think the Indy 500.
Indy 500.
Yeah. So, of all these events that you covered, which one was most memorable and why?
It's tough because there's a lot of great memories from all of them. Probably the most memorable, I went outside the country. I went to London, covered the Olympics in 2012. So that's probably the most memorable, mixing up my words here, most memorable because it was one of my first experiences out of the country. It was my first experiences working as a professional media person, and it's a whirlwind. It's fast. It's always moving. There's so much. I was writing so many stories in one day, doing so many interviews, and just really just cranking out content. And I really just kind of like diving feet first. You learn the industry really fast. The experiences I gained there, the sights I saw, the experiences I had, the friends I made, the connections I made with athletes and people that work with the athletes, it was unforgettable. And that's a time to me that like I'm always going to remember that. And then my time covering college football. I loved covering Notre Dame football because I was able to travel the country and cover a sport that I love and see these cool venues, Florida State, Clemson, Pitt, I got to go to Temple for that game, or at the Philadelphia Eagles Stadium. You know, like so many venues, iconic venues that you don't, you can't always say you've been to. And I'm glad I've been able to witness those in prime time. University of Texas, like all these places that you see on TV, and you're like, that'd be really cool to be in that environment. I got to check those out. I got to experience the loudness of the noise and really be a part of those scenes.
Let's backtrack for a moment. I know you went to Ball State University,
Yeah.
and did you go into Ball State knowing that you wanted to study journalism, or were you somebody like me that was all over the place, confused? I was here, I was there, didn't know what I wanted to do.
I went to Ball State kind of the same way. I didn't really know exactly what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to be in TV, so I knew I wanted to be in the media industry. I thought I wanted to do sports, and that's what I was kind of pinning myself with. And then I realized, news was a realm with more jobs, for one, more job opportunities, and it was great to have that skill of doing news. Because a lot of people you see on ESPN, they did news first, then they got that Sports Center job. People often don't notice that, or they don't recognize that. But everyone pretty much starts out doing news until you get your foot in the door, and then from there you can do what you want. So that's kind of how I looked at it. I learned all the skills I need to do that. But right now I love news. I love doing it. I love being able to cover multiple different things because I never get bored. Yeah, but that's how it started for me. I had no sense of focus in terms of that just going in. It took some time to develop that. It wasn't until probably junior year of college where I was like, this is definitely what I want to be doing. Yeah.
Okay, junior year, huh?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Takes
All right. Yeah, yes, I'm still figuring it out. That's another story.
Me too.
So how do you feel about the national anthem as far as the NFL goes?
Well, I think the key thing with the national anthem conversation, I think people need to remember that for many people in this country, the national anthem is a point of national pride, and it is important to them. And they've always been raised that you stand for the national anthem, and you respect this country and the people that sacrificed their life for this country through the national anthem. However, many people on that side of things are also not recognizing that for others, the national anthem is divisive. It is not positive. It doesn't bring those feelings at all. And to force everyone to just have to feel the same thing about this song, which has some connotations and some racist ideas and things like that, that's not fair either. I think both sides, I understand both sides, and both sides have a lot of emotion involved. But in the end, the First Amendment says what it does. And it is the First Amendment right to these players to protest during the anthem. The whole point of a protest is to make people feel uncomfortable, do something that's upsetting the status quo, and that's what this is doing. They're not protesting the anthem itself. They're protesting racial injustice. They're protesting racial inequity, discrimination, police brutality, issues that I think everyone should want to eradicate. I think everybody would mostly agree you need to eradicate those issues. That's what they're protesting. The vehicle to protest that is kneeling during the national anthem. But the national anthem itself is not being protested. Key distinction there,
Now, do you think that's the right time to protest? During that,
I don't think there's ever a wrong or right time to protest. I think protest is about civil disobedience. It's good trouble, as John Lewis says. MLK, Malcolm X, all these civil rights leaders, they were never thinking about what's the right time to protest. They were thinking about how can we send the biggest message and the loudest message. So it's really, I'm no expert in protests or what to do, but I mean, the whole definition of a protest is not about when's the best time to protest. That's a question that just doesn't fit well into what a protest even is.
when your career is over and you've done everything you wanted to do, you've gone places that you've always wanted to go, what do you hope to leave the younger generation of reporters?
I haven't really thought about that too much, but I mean, I always try to mentor. I have a lot of mentees and people I try to shepherd in. I let them shadow me and, look at their reels, give them feedback. And so my hope is that I'm, getting more people, helping them get a foot in the door in the industry, because we need more of us in there. And if I can get more of us in there and thinking about leadership and owning things, and not so much about being the next Oprah or next talk show host, and more about being the next great journalist and, actually making some change in the industry, then that's something I'd love to make an impact with. So we'll see. Hopefully I can do that. But the story's not fully written yet, so we'll see.
You're on your way. You're doing some great things, man. I appreciate you. And I think the younger generation of reporters are very lucky to have guys like you and other young black African American men that are in the industry doing positive things. And, it's very important that we can look up to somebody like yourself and like, wow, okay, he's doing it, I could do it. I don't have to be a basketball player, football player, the stereotypical professions. Let's say there was a machine that will allow you to go back in time to your younger years, teenage years. Looking at you now, what would you tell yourself? What type of advice would you give yourself?
I would tell myself to ignore the haters. I would tell myself...
You got a lot of them?
I had some. I probably still do. I don't know. But the key thing is I just don't pay attention to them. For some reason, it's easy to get caught up in what other people are saying about you or being liked. The key thing is not everybody's going to like you. You're not for everybody. You don't have to. That doesn't say anything about you. It does stuff about them. I'm a pretty likable guy. I've had people in the past, though. I don't know what it is, but there's been people that have had, tried things to dismantle me or, dismantle my career, things like that. Or they'll say hurtful things behind your back, gossipy type of things, and it gets back to me. And the key thing is just, not letting that stuff get to you, keeping the blinders on and just focusing on the road ahead, because all that stuff's not going to matter, and it doesn't. All the stuff people said about me back in college, high school, whatever, it doesn't matter because I'm the one here, and I don't know what they're doing now.
And that's good. If I can have a transparent moment, sometimes I find myself in that boat, like worrying about what people think. You know what I'm saying? Am I doing it right?
You can't do that.
Am I? Yeah.
Like, to a degree, you have to care about, like, what an employer might think. Right. What a potential employer might think. That's important. But, and what colleagues think is important to a degree. You don't want a bad reputation. You don't want that, right? However, people's opinions of you rarely actually matter if you're putting forth, if the reality is actually different. So, if they say you're lazy, you're not hard working and this and that, but your work ethic, the work you put out, the talent you have, and the product you put out shows the opposite, what they say doesn't matter, But if there's credence to it, maybe that's something you got to self-reflect on. And that's the thing. People's opinions, I don't want to mistake that for saying ignore criticism. You want to take criticism and critique. You always want to be trying to learn, build, adapt, get better, and grow your craft. But there's going to be some people that are going to intentionally have something to say negative no matter what. Those are the people you don't need to worry about or concern yourself with. There's going to be people that are going to be kind of snakes in the grass. And you got to watch out for those people. You don't have to share all your information with everybody. You don't got to be friends with everybody. Just be a professional. Do your work, do good work, and that'll speak for itself. And I think that is something I would tell my younger self, and that's something I'd tell anybody. Just do the work. Do the work. Put your head down, lower the shoulder, push ahead. Yeah.
This industry you got a lot of snakes in the grass. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Industry. And gossiping. I don't like workplace gossip, but a lot of people, gossip tends to happen. And it's not just this industry, it's many industries. Some industries might be worse for it, but you just got to make sure you look ahead and past that stuff.
And you seem like you work in an environment that's like totally the opposite. I don't know per se, but I've been around some of you guys, and you guys seem so genuine and lovable, likable people, and I think that's very important to come into the office every day. You need that,
Yeah, it's a good team. Good team, good personalities. Everybody seems to be understanding of everyone's talents and strengths and strong suits, and we're all part of a whole. And we're all trying to make up that greater whole. We all have a role to play, and I think everybody gets that. So, yeah, it's a good thing.
Great. So I'm not going to keep you any longer. So is there anything you want to tell the young people like myself and the individuals that are trying to get their foot in the door that may be discouraged or kind of hesitant?
You're going to get told no a lot. You're going to have doors shut in your face. You're going to have people say you don't have enough experience, you don't have this or that. I was turned down for so many jobs. It's ridiculous. But it only takes one.
So is there anything else you're doing outside of the Jam show that you're working on that you want to promote?
Oh, man, I'm always doing something. I do some podcasts, Two Bros and a Rose, a podcast about The Bachelorette and The Bachelor, of all things. So that's always fun. You can find that on iTunes right now. I teach a class, a high school sports journalism class, so that's always fun. And then I do some things off and on to other podcasts that might appear on and things like that. But overall, yeah, find me on Instagram, Twitter, at BPopeTV. I'm happy to talk with you. And I have a lot of fun, so Facebook as well. You can go to my Facebook page, Brandon Pope TV, and happy to chat.
Well, Mr. Pope, I appreciate you.
Yeah.
I'm D Ward, your host. One man, one mic, one voice, and I keep saying that he keeps giggling. I don't know why you keep giggling when I say that. No, I'm messing with you, bro. I appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thank you.
WCIU's The Jam, Mr. Brandon Pope. I'm D Ward. We out.